Welcome back to Meet the Breeder, everyone. It's nice to have you with us today. We are going to be speaking with Mary Palka from Bit
Hello.
of Mischief Nigerians, and
hmm
she is located in Boston, New York. Welcome.
Thank you so much. This is really exciting.
We are so excited to get a tour of your place today. Hopefully, we can learn some new things. But let's start with the basics. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the breed, if you don't mind, and what's kind of kept you going with the Nigerians.
Sure. We started getting goats about 4 years ago. We had moved from Maryland up to Western New York. My husband and I both retired, and my daughter had done a camp at our local county fair, which is really, really big. And the young woman that was in charge of the 4-H kind of overview told my daughter that she seemed to have a real natural affinity showing and handling animals, and she should consider 4-H. So my daughter came to me and said, "Mom, I really want to do 4-H." And I said, "Okay." So a friend of mine who used to live in Maryland with me, she moved to Pennsylvania. Her name is Lisa Shook-Briggs, and she is Dwarf Lunacy Farm. She had Nigerian Dwarf dairy goats, and we had always loved seeing her baby goats. And we thought if we moved up here that they would be a great breed, especially because we don't have a huge farm. We like to think it's kind of quality, but it's very small. Our barn space is very small. So we're limited in how many goats we can keep here. So we have 5 acres, and fenced pasture is about 1.5 acres. And we're hoping to divide that this year so that we can have a dedicated buck pasture. We have currently 3 bucks and 6 does. So I'm a buck hoarder. I'm proud of that. So I love my boys, as smelly as they can be, but I still love them. And right now they have been kicked out of the barn because we're going into kidding season, and I need the space for the girls for kidding pens. So they're out. They have a very, very, believe it or not, toasty shed. Sometimes I think it's warmer than my barn. So my daughter just said it is. So they have a shed with a run attached, and I do alternate them out into the fence pasture. Especially in the summertime, the girls are out for like the early part of the day, and then the boys go out for the last part of the day. But they do have a run off of their shed as well, like a kennel run. That's, I think, 10 by 20 or 10 by 30 that they can go in and out as well. They have their own little access door. Okay. So that's a little bit about us. So we, as I said, we raise and show Nigerian Dwarf dairy goats, and my daughter does 4-H as well. We do show through ADGA, and we participate in all the performance programs as well.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So you're getting into kidding season. I know that you had some kidding stalls set up. Did you want to kind of talk us through your barn and how that works?
I'm going to flip you around real quick. I'm going to walk back over toward the door. So as I said, we have a very small barn. This is actually part of a garage that the original owner had styled into the shape of a barn, and then he kept adding on. So when we purchased it, this was basically used for equipment, and it was not insulated. There was nothing set up. There was just like utility shelves. So we found some Amish gentlemen to come in, and they put in insulation on the walls and put in my stalls for me. We've made some adjustments since then, just to better facilitate. Like, it's one of those things I wish I knew then what I know now. I could have done things a little bit differently to start, but it's worked out actually really well. And like I said, we've made some improvements as we went along. So this is our kidding area. We're just in the process of setting them up. Our first doe we have 3 does due in 2 weeks. So we're just starting now to set these up. So these are, I'm gonna come in here. This first stall is about 4 by 5. It's a little bit bigger. The other ones are about 4 by 4, I believe. So they're all pretty decent sized. And one thing I really like is we found these 4 by 5 welded wire kennel panels that I have adapted for use as dividers to divide this area.
Those are
The nice
nice. They
thing
can
is,
see each other and there's airflow.
yep. And yeah, they're not alone when they're kidding. I can put, you know, a sibling or daughter next to them and they have company. And these are great because I can remove them and make this one big long, like 20-some foot stall. So, and I just use these little 1x1 strips to kind of hold them in place. This right here, this very first one, was a permanent wall that the Amish put in, and we actually removed it so that I could put the dividers in. And I think they worked a lot better. So
I'm excited that you're happy with those because we actually just purchased them for our kidding pens. I just bought the full like setup for it, but they look like they'll hold up well. So good to see.
They have worked out beautifully. And the nice thing is, like, for temporary hay racks and for shows, we found these wire laundry baskets that actually work really well. And I use those for the kidding pens as well. We have some smaller versions as well, but we can just clip them on the panels and clip mineral buckets and things, mineral holders as well, and water buckets screwed into the wall. And then I run electric. It's actually a water heater for our pregnant does. And this time of year when it's really cold, like we had -7 wind chills the other night. So it gets pretty chilly here. We have currently about, I don't know, 3 feet of snow out there. So the one nice thing too is that when we had these put in, the stalls put in, we did have the foresight to have 3 doors put on so that I can access every kidding pen by its own door. So that's the overview of the kidding area. And then this is our feed area and our more permanent milk stand. Normally my milking machine is on the little bench that sits next to it. It makes it kind of convenient. And then we have some shelves with various things on it. I can put the girls each in a kidding pen with a clean floor and put a few in here in this kennel. And I can collect fecals clean without getting a lot of shavings or dirt or hay in there. So
that's a good tip.
Nice. Yep. And then that's where we store our medicines. And this is where the girls live right now. I'm going to try to angle it a little bit so we're not getting the light from the window. There's my daughter.
Hi.
They said hi, so wave. And she's with a few of our girls. We also have a divider in here. We have a cranky very pregnant doe over there. And so they are in here enjoying some nice deep bedding and trying to stay warm. Somebody's getting some scratches. That one thing I just wanted to mention too is that all of our goats, with the one exception because she was super tiny, and then by the time she was healthy enough to try to reintroduce back to her mom rejected her, and she already had 2 others to take care of. So she was a bottle baby, but we dam raise all of our goats. And you can see that they are very antisocial, begging for attention over there. So I always get a chuckle out of people that say you have to bottle raise them to be friendly. And I find that that's not necessarily the case. And this has been one of my best purchases. So basically, we store, I'm going to see if I can pull it out a little bit. Hold on one second. It's on casters, which is nice. And I can open it up fully. So this has been a great way for me to be able to organize our medications and syringes and thermometers and any supplements that we give them, and help keep it organized. I have a notepad in here, so if I have to give somebody something, I can write it down real quick. Try to keep it nice and organized. We have our treats on top, so various things, peanuts. They like the goat snacks, banana and ginger, and their favorite probably is Fig Newtons.
One thing that we've been hearing from the breeders in the South is they have lots of parasite problems that is a huge thing that they have to manage on their farms. Coming from the north in a colder climate, do you find you have more of a mineral situation that you need to work with or more of a parasite situation?
Honestly, we have had more of a mineral situation. We've, I mean, we have like the normal coccidia. We've never had it really, really bad, knock on wood. Actually, when we start getting these really frigid temperatures and lots of snowpack, it kills a lot of the parasite larvae that are out there. We do run fecals pretty routinely, about 3 times a year. Or if I see somebody's having an issue, then I will, have fecals run. We send them out to Mid-America Agricultural Research.
Okay.
So, but I've had a lot more problems juggling minerals. So
Same here.
even this year, we had one of my does in there didn't settle right away, which every other year she settled first time, every time. And we figured it out that she was selenium deficient. Once I supplemented her with selenium, she immediately started coming into stronger heat cycles and then eventually did settle. So we're very pleased with that. She's just going to kid much later than everybody else.
Do you do the injectable Bosie when you do the selenium, or do you have a different way to supplement?
This particular time we did do Bosie. It's hiding in the back here. It's one of the things we have back in there. So we did give it this time. I try not to overdo that. We do also supplement with Replimon gel.
That's another product I love. Love it.
Yeah. So here's our Replimon gel plus. We did start supplementing zinc this past year using Zinpro. And we did switch our minerals to Sweet Licks Mineral Maker. And I have found an improvement over the products we were using previously. So we are on Facebook, and anybody can feel free to message me through there, or you can reach us at bomnigerians@gmail.com. And things that we're trying to improve in our herd, in addition to keeping correct structure, we're trying to add stronger performance in the milk pail. We're blessed that our 4 adults that were on milk test last year all earned their milk stars. But I'd still like to see even stronger performance. So that was one of the reasons we purchased this little gold doeling. She'll be a first freshener this year, but she has Promised Land MG Diva lines. So we're hopeful too that she'll further our production performance as well, even stronger than it is. All right. I figured we'd introduce you real quick to our 6 girls. My daughter's herding. This is our little diva. We purchased her from Garden View Farms earlier last year, and her mother's superior genetics as a first freshener. She descends from the more famous diva, which is Promised Land MG Diva, one of the highest producing Nigerians on record. So we have great hopes for her. Not to mention, she's very cute. She has blue eyes and moon spots, which are kind of hidden in her coat pattern, but she has abundant moon spots.
And is she bred?
She is bred. Ultrasound showed we expect a single, and she is due in March. She's a little, we call her butternut squash is her nickname, because she looks like a little butterball. This is Juniper, our chocolate doe. Her full name is Dwarf Lunacy NF Juniper. She scored, she's a little fuzzy right now. She's blowing some of her cashmere. She scored on her linear appraisal, first linear appraisal at a year old and 11 months. She scored an 88, which
wow,
we were
nice.
super happy with.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl.
Yeah, she's a very pretty girl. She's a sweetheart too. And we liked her so much, we retained her daughter from 2020. We liked the kids from last year's breeding so much that we repeated it, and we retained 2. We retained Trixie and her brother. Moon Pie, who's out in the buck shed, and very, very pleased with her conformation. She is not bred, so we're going to hold off on her. She didn't settle. We tried her with a friend's young buck, and she didn't settle, so it's a little late in the season, so we're just going to wait a little bit longer and breed her in the fall. We only had 2 shows last year because of COVID, and she did really well at both shows, so I'm happy. No junior leg yet, but maybe this year. She had a full litter mate. Go on, get in there. She had a full litter mate from the breeding last year that won her junior leg and best junior in show at just 12 weeks of age. So it's one of the reasons we repeated the breeding, because she's really nice. And this is another dam and daughter pair. This is Woolly Dog Down NF Juno. She's running around looking for food because Lord knows she's starving to death. And her 2018 doeling, or 2019 doeling, I'm sorry, Vegas. Her name is Bit of Mischief Viva Las Vegas. And then we have one more who's coming out. This is our black and white doe. She is Dwarf Lunacy NF Jules, chocolate doe, and the bigger buckskin doe, Juno. They are all half sisters. They all had the same sire, but different dams. So we have our own little get of sire group. We bought those 3 together. So they were all sisters. We all purchased from my friend Lisa, and don't let her jump up. So we purchased them all at the same time, not really realizing that at that point we were going to get so much into showing and things like that. When they started doing well at shows, it kind of increased the fever to do the performance programs and things like that.
So you started with the showing, and then you got more into the production and the linear appraisal and all that.
Right. When my daughter when she started in 4-H, we didn't know anything about showing at all. So we had driven to Ohio just to go watch a show and see what it was about. And we met a woman there named Laura Thisson, and Laura has Spelling Bee, who's kind of well known among the Nigerian breeders, and she inspired Maria to show through ADGA. And then of course I'm along for the ride, and I enjoy it too. We've made a lot of friends, and our does have actually done pretty well, considering the person that we bought them from didn't show at all. And we're very happy that we ended up with some pretty nice quality animals, not even knowing what we were getting into. So it helped us to start a little bit ahead of the game.
Definitely. Yeah, kind of lucked out with that, right?
So anyways, but this is Jules.
She's 2 weeks too.
She is also doing 2 weeks. She has, I think, 2 to 3 in there. And she also earned her milk star this year. And I think she scored an 87 on her first linear appraisal when she was a year-old. So all of them, like I said, did really well, and we're pretty pleased. Jules is our poster child for our logo. She's very personable.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your herd with us today in your barn. And I love that cart. That's a wonderful idea. I hope people can maybe come up with their own version of that at home, because that is a really cool thing to have on hand.
From Maria and I, bye.